Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Sunglass Chef. Today, cinnamon rolls with homemade icing. This super gooey dessert is so off the charts. It has sugar and cinnamon and all the wonderful flavors that you would want in a dessert. And most importantly, it's from scratch and we can pronounce all the ingredients that go into it. So come along as we make this delicious, gooey morsel of love. We'll start with our homemade vanilla pudding. And if you're interested in knowing how to make homemade vanilla pudding, just click on the recipe below by the Sunglass Chef. Vietnamese cinnamon, Celtic sea salt, butter, milk. We're using warm milk here, about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, or you could put it in the microwave for 40 seconds if you have one. We're going to use sifted flour, all-purpose flour, brown sugar, 2 eggs room temperature, powder sugar for our icing. You'll need active dry yeast, vanilla extract, and granulated sugar. We're going to start by dissolving our dry yeast with our milk and our sugar. The dry yeast activates faster when it's combined with sugar, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to put this in our large mixing bowl. We're going to start by making our dough, and in order to make the dough, we use dry yeast. We'll use the whole packet here. Next, our warm water. I don't mix this, I just combine them all together and let the dry yeast granules do its magic. And then sugar, granulated sugar, half a cup. We're going to let this dry yeast, warm milk, and our sugar dissolve for about 10 minutes. While our yeast is dissolving, we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of butter into our double boil here. For those that don't have a microwave, this is how we melt butter. Well, it's been 10 minutes. Our yeast has been dissolved in our warm milk as well as our sugar. And so now it's time to add our eggs, our butter, a pinch of salt, our vanilla pudding, and the flour. We'll start with the eggs, room temperature. Butter, a pinch of salt, whisk, homemade vanilla, whisk some more. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. 1 cup, 2 cups. And now I'm going to let my KitchenAid mixer do the work. You can mix this by hand, or you can use a tool like a KitchenAid mixer. We're going to add our dough hook attachment to our KitchenAid mixer. And we're going to turn this on a low and mix that all together. We'll be gradually adding more of our flour. Well, I've added 4.5 cups of flour to this dough, and it's still a little sticky. You want to touch your dough to see if it's sticky. We don't want sticky dough. So we're going to add a little bit more flour. I've sifted 2 cups here. Now we're getting the consistency I like. I'm going to put our dough covered here with a paper towel, or you can use a warm towel on top, but we're going to be proofing the dough for 45 minutes. I've preheated the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, then turned it off. We don't want our oven on when we're proofing the dough. And what we're allowing here is the development of the flavors in this dough. And it will rise. The dough will rise during this process as well. It's been 45 minutes since we began proof number 1. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, the dough has definitely risen. Now we're going to punch the dough. This is a deflating process, or degassing. We're going to cover again, set the timer for 45 minutes. While the dough is proofing for a second time, let's go ahead and combine our brown sugar and cinnamon mixture. This is the heart of our cinnamon rolls. I have 1 cup of brown sugar here. I'm going to pour this into a bowl. I've got my Vietnamese cinnamon. You can use any cinnamon for this recipe, but I really like Vietnamese cinnamon. We're going to use 2½ tablespoons of cinnamon. Well, the second proofing is complete, so now it's time to take our dough out of the oven. Take a look at this. Oh, it rose beautifully. So now what we're going to do is we're going to spread out some flour, and we're going to roll out our dough. I'm going to flour our rolling pin. I've got a wooden rolling pin here. Just roll out the dough. Roll it out. I melted 1/3 of a cup of butter, and we're going to use this butter to oil our dough and then sprinkle our cinnamon sugar mixture. And we'll also use this butter to oil our glass baking dish. And now I'm going to sprinkle our cinnamon sugar mixture all throughout. And again, if you don't have a shaker with holes on it like this, just use your hands and sprinkle it with your hands. The key here is just to sprinkle this mixture all over the dough. Next, we're going to roll this dough. Roll the dough, like we're rowing a boat. Now that we've rolled the dough, I'm going to use this scraper. It's a multi-purpose tool, scraper, chopper, but I'm going to use it to cut segments of our dough. We have our baking glass dish here. We're going to lubricate this with some of the butter. This helps so that our cinnamon rolls don't stick to the pan, to the dish. Now that our glass baking dish has been oiled up with some butter, we're going to fill it with our dough. You want to stand these up so that this top is facing upward. You don't want it down like this. Next, we're going to proof this in the oven for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Again, the oven is off. We're just proofing this. It's called shape proofing, and this will be our last proofing stage. While the oven is preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, it's a good time to get started on the icing. I've got about 3 ounces of cream cheese, a little more than 1/3 of a cup of butter, right? Next, our powdered sugar. This is approximately 1½ cups. I'm going to add some vanilla, about 2 tablespoons. And 2 tablespoons of milk. Whole milk. Our oven is preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's put it in the oven for 14 minutes. We're going to start by putting it on the lower rack for 7 minutes, and then we're going to raise that rack higher for another 7 more. It's been 7 minutes, and now it's time to rotate our cinnamon buns to the top rack. It's been 14 minutes. Let's check out our cinnamon rolls. Oh, that looks lovely. I want to go ahead and leave it in there for another 60 seconds. And I'm going to put it on a lower rack. And now to check our final product. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that golden brown. That's what we're looking to achieve here. I'm going to set this to the side, and when it cools down in about 10 minutes, I'm going to transfer it to a cooling rack and then apply our homemade icing. And now it's time to put our icing on our finished cinnamon rolls. Just lather that on. My mouth is salivating. I can't wait to take a bite of this delicious looking morsel, the cinnamon bun. Wow, look at that gooiness. Ooh, look at this. Look at how wonderful this whole thing looks. Mmm. The buttery rich cream cheese icing, the vanilla flavor, the cinnamon, the sugar, the fluffiness of the dough. I feel like I'm eating clouds. This is so delicious. It's outstanding. Home run. Thank you for watching.